Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here and welcome to episode number 66 of the Paris 13 Atletico Stable. We look to do it better than PSG, and I tell you what, in the non-league to legend, we've come a long way here in the French edition of the non-league to legend. As you can see, this year we did finish on 70 points, 10 points behind champions PSG, who won it on goal difference in Monaco, and we finished 6 points clear of our next best challenger in OJ Nice, finishing our best ever result in third. We also made the Europa League semi-final, so it's been a crazy year, and to be fair, we're probably a little bit unfair to not have made the final, but we also are very lucky to make it that far as well. In terms of what we're going to do is I am going to just say we are looking at building firstly into this 4-3-3. This is the scouting episode that actually seems to do very well on YouTube, so we'll make sure we go on our biggest scout possible. If you are enjoying the scouting videos, do let me know. Let me know what you might want to see from these scouting, recappy, sort of transfer special videos we do to welcome in every single season, because I will adapt as the videos come out, of course, as well, because there's no way that this was going to be the last one we're going to do, because we're going to have to win the league, and I don't think that's going to happen next year. Without further ado, we are going to go in. If you want to see this 4-3 broken down and talked about, please, by all means, go in and do, go in and, give me your feedback here, Twitch chat, we are live. Drop Bears give me hints on how to scout and good transfer tactics. So there is nothing that is that's not made up. That's questions from Drop Bear. I do have some scouting parameters, or maybe I might show you in this first part here as well. But I wanted to speak about the team and something that I do with all my transfers. Plan what you're going to do next year. I'm very visual, so the squad planner I don't use. I use a book to write all my transfers in, and I do it with you guys. I like to have the chat. Terms of next year, I do want to build in this 4-3-3, because if it plays as well as it did in the last 2 games of the season, which it may or may not, I want to see it go for a full preseason and see how we go. Now, apart from Melbelow, who's learning to play centre mid on attack, the advanced playmaker, we can have a look at him, how good he is in this role here. He's already a 4-star player, for goodness sake. So once he learns, he'll be 4-star here. We've got areas where we need to look at improving. We've got areas where we might need to look at what we can do. So the first part we're going to do is just go through the squad, and then I might go through some parameters for yourselves here as well. Look, Schindler, great keeper, does what he needs to do. He's more of a sweeper keeper on attack, so we might play him in his best role. We've played him always as a sweeper keeper on attack, so we'd probably in this system do it, just because there's actually room for him to do it. Vinicius and Zeno definitely will play, and we come to our first spot, which is Tosin. Not really a ball-playing defender. I do think if we're going to play this sort of system, which is going to focus us on getting on the ball-playing defender is something we might need. Do I want to get rid of him? No. Do I think he will become good? Yes. Do I think at 21, turning 22, there's going to be that much growth to get him to there? Probably not. So I think he's actually going to become a very good backup. So first thing we are going to do is go with Tosin back up here, right? Longyello's played himself into his starting 11. For people that forget, Munoz is coming back from that major hip injury he got. So we actually have 2 left backs this year. And we'll talk about right back. We've got Vinicius, we've got Hector Fort, and we do have the young Sten Jorgensen coming in this season as well, who looks fantastic. So actually in terms of depth at the back, we're very, very good, because we've also got Diallo as well that can do this role. And before we forget, we've got Isaias, who I'll talk about a little bit more. Yuri is 6'2" and a very well-rounded and can be a ball-playing defender too. So, and they're all coming in because they're all 18, or Jorgensen's Danish, so he can move along. So we've got a lot of depth in a lot of areas. So that's fantastic. Diallo's obviously Diallo too. There we are. Now we look into the midfield, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. Wenger forward's fantastic. I do love him. He's got natural tackling. He's great technique. He's a natural leader. He's got work rate. He's got teamwork. He's got everything you need. He's a bit limited going forward, so you can't use him there. At 6'1", he doesn't really dominate enough physically or have the jumping range for me to ever be comfortable in playing centre-back. He's a true out-and-out ball-winning midfielder, but he's a backup ball-winning midfielder for me. And this is where you go to Isaias and go, okay, this guy is just proper Fabinho-esque. I had a guy called a Gildo SFB, a Gildo-esque, who was this world-class. To pick him up for 2.2 mil when he's going to end up being a world-class centre-mid, he's already 4-star 21, and he's going to come in and play in a better league. I expect him to develop. Our facilities are good. There is a world where those physicals are 15 plus on most things. There's a world where we do get the positioning and the marking up to 15 too, because we will be working that. He's going to have to play. and it's made me change from a halfback to a ball-winning midfielder because I want to see him playing his best role. If we don't get the desired movement from this position, I will move into a halfback. I'm very big on a ball-winning midfielder in the 6, but halfback seems to work better with 2 wider centre-backs because they drop in a bit more. In terms of the midfield, obviously Melbourne plays. This is my next spot where I think we need to sign someone. Is as much as I love Diop, he has to come into the bench. He is going to be fantastic. He is worth 18 to 22 mil. He is one of those Senegalese lags that, like Dosu, could be someone that could be here at the end of the save because he's so fantastic in what he does. As an advanced playmaker and attack, if he had that little bit of extra speed, he could nearly play for us right now. Has played well when he plays centre mid on attack. Has got very good mentals and technicals. So that's not a position that we need. Straight away, we need someone maybe here to partner Dosu. And obviously, Wenja Ford is going to make the way to the bench. And that leaves Dieng, who is 73 caps, Malian international, we picked up on a free, is someone that maybe we might look to ship out as well. And we do that. Straight away, we've already got the signing here. Don't have a signing at centre-back. Centre mid on attack, we're actually going to touch on a couple of names in the second part of this video that I've already scouted. Then it comes in the front 3. Bakioko's a lock. He does have some transfer interest. Porto mainly. Dosu's Dosu. He ain't leaving. He's probably going to captain a lot of games. Then it comes to up front. I don't know what to do with Collie. This is where you guys need to help me. 16 goals in 32. You guys can't see it. He scored 23 in all appearances. Played 45 games total. Right? He scored 7 goals in 12 appearances continentally. And he didn't score in the cup game. But he's had a very good year. And over a 7 again. You got to remember this guy here has got 91 goals in 146 appearances, I think, for us. If you go to his information screen or his profile screen, 94 goals and 154 behind my webcam. Anytime he's in form, he is deadly, and I love him. And every time he's out of form, I don't know what to do with him. But he is, along with Dosu, who does love playing advanced forward, and we are now moving into an advanced forward, and Melbourne hit out one of our best. I think because of what he's done in the last 2 games of the season, especially that hat-trick, which I know is a very interesting way to look at it. When he is consistent, as you can see. Goal, playing couple goals and assist, goal off the bench in that game there because I was trying something, hat-trick. I think what we need to do is look at what we can do. Thank you very much there, Bobby. How are you, Bobby? Good to see you in the chat. I'm a bloody legend. Love to hear that. Thanks, mate. Am I going to make another mistake by rejecting a 15 mil bid again this year, not selling him? I think that then that leads you to my bench. Straight away, we're looking at centre back and a centre mid on attack. And you see, he comes in the ball-winning midfielder. We've only got 14 mil to spend. I do have a dilemma, which I will talk to you guys about in a second too. And then here on the bench, Hector Fort's obviously filling in that spot for Jorgensen. He has got some interest. I would sell, as much as I love the guy and I think he's fantastic, and he's always been there or thereabouts. I do think there is a world where I don't mind letting him go. There's also a world where maybe Jorgensen I maybe loan out for a year to see how he develops too. Diallo's Diallo, Tosson's Tosson, Manoz is Manoz, Wenja Ford. Billing's one of those guys that now, even though I love him and I think he's fantastic and he always looks to get on the ball and he does everything, he's now at a stage where he's declining enough for me to go, you know what, as a backup player, yes. As a starter now, no. So, Billing makes the bench. Diop's Diop. Indore I want to keep. He may go, but he's also very good at what he does. Papa Dieng is developing and he's got a bit of potential. He's not maybe the quickest, but I will give him another year, right? And we do have some younger guys in the development centre, most notably Bertrand, who is a winger on that side and can develop and is someone that maybe has a bit more potential than that as well. And finally wanted on a loan. Then it leaves you to McKaylee, and this guy's expected to be a first-team player next year, and there's no way I'm playing him. So straight away off the bat, we're looking at a backup striker, someone who I still think we need a young backup striker, but someone that has got pace, dynamism, with some height to be over Collie eventually. And when Collie goes through those spurts of bad form, find someone that's consistent and can do a job, right? But at the same time, find a defender and set him in an attack. There is a world where if we don't find a defender, Isaias can play as a ball playing defender because he's that good. He's mentally switched on. He's physical. He can tackle. He's a bit more physical where Wedge forward doesn't, and we just play Wedge forward ball winning midfielder. But I would rather this guy play in his most natural position, which the game will tell you it's centre back. I would tell you straight away, ball winning midfielder on defend with 19 aggression and 15 anticipation with 18 bravery, and someone that's very agile and quick. He's got to destroy games, and it's really good to see. In terms of the other signings, Martin Salama probably makes the bench at some stage as well because he's very good at what he does. And then obviously Billings and finding himself out of the team a little bit there too. But that might maybe allow me to maybe loan Diallo out and we play Billing at centre-back. We've got a lot of depth. I think now is the time, for the first time in a long time, we need to focus on buying first team big name options. As in, you're coming in to do the job because you're very good. You're coming straight in. With that being said, we need a centre-back and a centre mid on attack, and then find a striker on top of that. There is some sellable assets. Dieng we might be able to get a price on. Cavas is wanted. We probably could get a mil. McKaylee we could get a few mil. We'll make some profit. Alonso, as much as I love him and I want him to be here, he just doesn't fit anymore. I'm going to look to loan him out because there's still potential there too. But there's money to be made. Next part, we're going to talk about some of the players that I have written in my book because there's actually a dilemma because I've found a guy that is so good but it doesn't fit one of the positions that we need. Okay, YouTube, second part of this episode, I'm actually going to go through Drop Bear's 2 questions. Give me hints on how to do good transfer tactics and, tips and scouting. Now, I know a lot of people go very in-depth in scouting, set up recruitment focuses, etc. And, they go through this list and etc. I do that, but I'm very old school. I still think the best way of scouting is actually going individually for every European team and any region that's playing international football is probably worth a scout. Especially if they're in Europe, right? But I actually have some parameters that I use for scouting, and that's by going with player ranges. And the first one I do to find my wonder kids, well-rounded wonder kids, is I'll set at the perimeter 15 and 19. I prefer 18 because if you get them in and they turn 18, you can actually make them homegrown at your football club, right? And then straight off the bat, this is called the 17-36 method. You tick every single one of these stats, which is 36 stats, I believe, maybe 37. And then what you do is you narrow down your list until you find players, right? And you go like this, like that. The first reason why I do this, and I have explained it a few times, is I'm a believer that if we actually did this and did this, right? Anyone that has 15 stats, 15 to 36, are world class. One player's actually come up, and it's actually Edward Salto at 21, who's a wonder kid. Straight away, at Liverpool, looking to leave 52 mil. I'm a big believer that if you got 15 stats, 15 plus or more, because I put them as gold in my thing, because they're the golden stats, the really key stats, you will be good. You will be world class. And obviously, Edward Salto, world class. If you take this off, all of a sudden, you've got some players here that are going to be fantastic. You got Kessie, you got Mbappe, you got Vinicius, you got Haaland. So, when I'm looking for my regens, and I'm looking for scouting, here, Drop Bear, I'm trying to find young kids that have the potential to grow into having 15 plus 15 stats or better. And the way I do that is you narrow down your search. Here you go. You go back there to 19, for instance, or 18, right? Obviously, no one's going to come up on this list. But if I go to 14 or 13, and I actually like putting it out there to 17, right? Because some of these might not get there, but some will. These are your regens that you're then going to target. Like, if you're having a look here, 15 to 18, I don't think any of these would be interested in coming. One of those guys from someone is. Okay, let's have a look at him because he could actually come. Right, Miguel Ramirez. Straight away, you have a look at him and you go, he's okay. You'll give him a scout. Anyone that comes on this list, you scout automatically. What makes him good? Natural pass of the football. Technique. Actually got very well-rounded mentals. And he's got well-rounded physicals. So at 18, if you bring him in to play first-team football in good facilities, you might actually go into a bit of a world beater. You then have to work out, look, this year's been a bit weird with natural progression and growth. FM 21, 22, 21, 20, I had this theory that seemed to work. When you're between the ages of 15 and 18, because the training develops so much, and then if you play them between 18 to 22, playing them a lot, I found that if you get them in before they're 18, stats of 11 plus will get to 15, physicals of 10 plus will get to 15. This year, it's a little bit more Some players develop, some players don't, which is a bit more weird. But this is a guy that straight away you're looking at it at 18, you would guarantee him at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Flair and determination so hard to grow. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stats at a minimum, at the bare minimum, are going to get there. Stamina could get there to 14. Natural fitness could probably get up there. And then there's a couple 12 stats that could get there. So he's someone that, for me, you look at and you go, he might get to become world-class, but he's someone that maybe if you pick him up on the cheap is not bad. Go to someone like an Antal, for instance. You look at him and you just go, you see why he's a wonder kid, right? Physically a monster, flair, leadership, determination. And this is what we did with the likes of Dosu, for instance. You might be thinking, Damien, how did you find all these Senegalese talent? Mate, Dosu came out and was raw, but he had a lot of these stats. And I was like, yeah, we're picking you up for 30K or whatever it was, right? 79K. Has been, in conjunction with Bakayoko this year, our best player. Someone that's that physical and that know what he's doing. Worth 46 or 61 mil, we bought him for 79K. So that's my biggest tip when it comes to scouting, is do this and then see who comes up. For me, you got this guy here is fantastic. We found Bruno Pereira last year. We put in a 500K bid because he had a 525K release fee, right? And he rejected me 3 different times saying, I don't want to leave the club because I want to be, develop here at Academy. And then Porto went in for him and he went there straight away. If this guy came to me, we would have our striker problem solved because he would just start, right? And then there's a guy at 16 at Angers that, look, he is on my hit list. Right, he's on my hit list. We're going to re-scout him again. He's that well-rounded as centre-back. There will be a time where Angers will let him go, either for the cheap or he'll become interested because he's French and wants to play Champions League football. And this guy will be a future first-team centre-back for us, hopefully, one day. But I've already scouted him, right? And this is how you pop him up. You then obviously go, if you're looking at doing this and you go to transfer, you only look at the players that you're interested in. Then you maybe, I'll look at 13. Sometimes I'll look at 12 and see who comes up. But you just play around with it. See, 56 players come up. Okay, that's probably too many. So you go back to 13, narrow it down. But we'll go to 16. How many players that are interested in coming in now? There's 3. Okay, and then you just work your way through the list. And I've seen Jose Antonio. He's decent. Yet again, very well-rounded mentals, very well-rounded physicals, and FM22 and FM21 and 20. This is a guy that would mentally grow into a very good footballer with some really good physicals and technically, be okay. You got this guy here in the middle of the park, and straight away you're looking at him and you're going, physically not bad, very strong, and, you got the mentals, etc. So those are my tips. Firstly, do what I did in the first 10 minutes. Plan out what exactly you need so you don't keep buying strikers, because I've done that a lot on saves, right? And secondly, go and set up your parameters. Either scout the whole of Europe and go for every region that you find, and as you go through saves, it becomes a bit harder because there's so many regions coming out, right? But set up your parameters. You get the next-gen list, scout the next-gen list, scout the whole next-gen list so they're in your thing. When next-gen list comes out, that's the most important day. Get a coffee, spend 10 minutes, click every player and scout every player and add them into your shortlist. You might be thinking, why is that? Because when they go to re-scout him, they'll watch him playing a game and they might have a mate who is playing at Sporting's second division, side, Sporting B. You've got a guy from next gen list who's worth 30 to 40 mil playing, in conjunction playing first team. Then all of a sudden there's a guy for 500K, which we found at the Academy playing, who bangs a hat trick, and next minute you go, oh, he's only worth 500K. He looks really good. You make a signing. So do this, scout your next gen, keep moving around. Don't be just so, okay, that's the list. Move it around. Is there a guy with 14? Is there a guy with 13 stats of 14 that comes up on the list? Or 12, and you just keep moving it around. For me, sometimes I do this, right, and I go 12s, right, and match 13, but I might go, who's 17? Is there someone that's 17 out there in world football that's interested in coming to me with those stats? Apparently there's a lot. Okay, make it 13 or 13 at 17. Is there anyone out there? No. But you see what I mean? And you're like, oh, okay, so, and then you just keep clicking around. That's my scouting. What I do, Drop Bear, and what I do here, YouTube. See, out of this list of 15, I'm telling you right now, there is a world-class player in this list. There is a world-class player in this list. Anyone that's Taiwanese is usually pretty good. I will say, I always end up finding a Thai player that is out as well. Usually centre defensive mid, centre attacking mid. But, you got a young guy at Arsenal. He's well-rounded. You got this guy here, who's well-rounded. And then all of a sudden, you just go through and just see what's on the list. Like, this guy's 6'6". And he's got headering, flair, and if you could train him. He could be decent. But, you go for this list and you scout. And I'll guarantee you there's probably going to be, out of this 15 list, 10 of these guys will be horrid. But the 5 guys that are decent, there might be one guy that's really good or really good potential. And that's what I do to my scouting. That's my questions there for Drop Bear. Next part of the episode, I'm actually going to go through 2 players that I'm really seriously considering. One of them is a dilemma. Let me tell you why it's a dilemma. Okay, YouTube, let's talk about players. There's 2 guys in my book that I really want to speak about, right? Maybe 3. I'm going to start with one that I haven't really looked back at in a lot, but it's Javier Costa, if he wants to come up, at Tolka. Javier Costa at Tolka. Javier Costa at Tolka? No, apparently not. And this is why I always write the team name, because sometimes you don't find it. But Tolka, and they've got Javier Costa. The Cotta. That's why I have it as Costa. It's Cotta. Firstly, this guy. Very good at what he does. I would actually say that if we ever go down the route of a box-to-box midfielder, he's someone that's very good. I had him in my shortlist for 6.2 mil, 1 cap for Mexico. Look how good he is, back a line, right? That he's maybe someone that would maybe turn into Segundo Volante if I played 4-2-3-1 long term. 8.2 mil, Dortmund, worth it, but it's a lot of chunk of the money. He's not the dilemma though. The dilemma is actually going to be the be the third player that we look at. Next one there is a guys that people may know is Kobe Mano at Man United. I've never used him on FM because usually he grows into a decent footballer and usually Man United sell him on and he's happy to stay around in Europe or whatever. 10.5 mil is a lot of money, but he may end up getting a bit cheaper than that. Some good clubs want him. He's also Ghanaian, so it's not a foreign player. We don't have any issues with foreign stuff anyway. We've only got 1 or 2, but fits the role of what we want. Someone who is, according to my scouts are now good League One to a leading League One player, so it could be on that level of Bakayoko and Dossu, and that's what we need, right? 24, so we're going to get at least 6 years of prime before he even starts thinking about declining, and he's that good. And as a centre mid on attack, he can actually tackle, which is quite nice when you got the pressing that we do. The only thing he will say is he doesn't hit a good long shot, but long shots seem to fly in anyway. Mentally, we're around there, but what I like about him is physical and he's got good traits as well. The traits are not too bad there. Played 2 times for Man United, had a couple of loan spells. Maybe there's a world where we get him from a bit of a cheaper deal. He's not the dilemma. Only problem is we only got 14 mil. So if we go for Cotta or for Kobe, who I'm leaning towards, and then see his falls in, leaves me no real centre back. There is some clauses I might sell. The last one, though, that is the issue, is it's a person that I do not have room for. He may not be interested in coming, but we'll look at Donabert Favaro. Yeah, I've found this guy doing this method last year or the year before, and then I always sometimes stick my parameters of 20, 21. As a fullback on support, he's not the most aggressive fullback going forward, but as a fullback on support or a defensively minded fullback, and in this system that I'm looking for defensive stability with the outlet of being going on. And the way Vinicius is, he fits being a more defensively minded fullback that will impact play going forward. Same with Donabert Favaro, and we could actually sign him. I know I've signed a right back for a mil. I know I've got Hector Fort, and I know I've got Vinicius, who came third in Next Gen this year. If he turns around and goes, I'm unhappy and I get transferred for 10 mil, 12 mil, whatever it is, he's probably too good to pass up, is he not? What would you do there, Twitch chat? What would you do, YouTube? He's the dilemma. If I sign him, I have no transfer budget, and it means that I don't sign a defender at centre-back, and I don't sign a centre mid on attack. But what it does mean is even though it's maybe 1 year of pain, I get a world-class right-back at 22 who I would sign on a 5-year deal if possible. And once he becomes happy playing more consistent Champions League, because, whatever, we might have a right-back that is the best player at this football club for the next 5 to 10 years. At a minimum. That's a really good one. And I like his traits. Short, simple passes, marks opponents tightly, doesn't play any through balls. I just need him to sit in and do whatever. And he's got some sort of interest in me. Apparently he's got no interest in me there, but that's an old scout report done on the 22nd of the 4th, 2029. Actually, that seems pretty recent. He was interested in me. Now he's not. Interesting. Can we find out if he's interested in me? 15.80 mil, wants good wage, wants to be a star player, wants to do all that. Strengthen the first team in defence. Yeah, he's very good. He's also someone that maybe you're trying to be the ball-winning midfielder, but he's got headering ability. I like him. But yeah, that's the dilemma of YouTube. I don't know what to do. This is where we need to find him where we had a bit more money. This is where if we had a bit of a more generous board and the board said he's 47 mil, spend 30, he would already have a bid. But the fact we don't, is it worth me passing him up even though he's that good? Because we know we've got Vinicius who, if you compare the pair together, right, and you just have a look at it like that, as much as we love Vinicius, is he ever at 19 going to grow into that? Probably not. But we can get away with Vinicius. And maybe we can find a centre-back. You know? Is Sten Jorgensen ever going to grow into that? He's younger. He might. Because he's that good. But, yeah. And that's the thing, though, about Sten. Is when you look at Sten like that, you go, because he's slightly younger and is actually a very good tackler, he might grow into something similar. Maybe. But, yeah. Donabar, I want him. I don't know how we get him, but I want him. Thing is, you get him. I don't know what we're going to do here. Lastly, what we will touch on is the clauses, so we know how much money. These guys, obviously, they're all selling on. Mawissa has a 20% sell-on clause. He's got no real money. Has he played for FCSM in the league this year? He played 31 games. Jesus. How much money would they give me? 79k. Probably not worth selling. Galba's got a 20% sell-on clause of 149k. He's never going to go for anything like that, so just bring that in. And Daiga Ceesay's got a 40% sell-on clause. We're only getting out of the 681k. They're looking like releasing him. He's not got a bid or anything. I might end up taking that one. Right? And then the big one is Dieng. Dieng's actually got a 2.85 mil. We sold him on. He wasn't particularly great. Potential to be League One. Has gone there and only played one game off the bench. And didn't even get a rating at 21. To get for Dieng, what was 2.85 mil, I think is almost worth it. Because you get to buy 40% of the profit. It's not even what he sells on for. What I might do is actually get a scout report on him. And that's something I will suggest. Always scout the players that you might sell this clause on because they might come back and the value is now 20. Or it might have gone down. But yeah, that's the dilemma. It is what it is. Got 14 mil to spend. Plus no real rage. Probably just not the time to go for Varo. But I really want him. Next time, what we're going to do here, YouTube, is instead of me coming back for every contract or anything like that, I'm just going to come back with, okay, I've signed this guy, this is why I signed this guy, done. And shorten this up, because I do see that the last video went on long. But these videos do get a lot of explanation, because it's a scout. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, YouTube. Morning of. We streamed to about 12 o'clock simming and scouting, and now we've got all the new signings coming in here at the minute. I want to say a big thank you. I've been receiving some messages of just saying that people enjoying the content. No, I don't get a lot of watches on my videos, but it's the main reason why I do it. For people that maybe don't watch the stream at all, find the content, watch the content, maybe they'll come over to the stream, or for my streaming viewers to catch up when they miss something in the save. With that being said, we've obviously losing a loved one this week. The support's been great, so thank you. Keep it up. Do give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, as well. But let's talk about the free players here. Firstly, Yuri, he's a great little footballer. I love him a bit. He's a very good League 2 player and looks well-rounded. He's only 18. There we are. I think he's going to be pretty good. He's got the potential. Sten Jorgensen, only 17, very well-rounded. There's stats here that he's already got like 5 stats over 15 plus. I would say that, being that he's 17, anything 12 plus will probably get to 15, which, if you count it up, I've already counted this. It's 17 stats. You can pause and have a go, but if you're looking at 12 plus there's 17 stats that are 12 plus at 17. He's going to be good. But we'll see how he develops, because development's been weird. But lastly, Isaias, and I'm in the camp of playing a ball-winning midfielder. There is a potential that I do make a signing here and move him into a centre-back, but I think ball-winning midfielder, I think he's elite there with the mentals and the physicals and the ball-winning ability. Let's put him there and hide the headering a little bit as well, but he's fantastic. I mean, you look at him here. I know you guys can't see it, but he's better than Jesper and Billing, and just, if we compare these two, right, and Isaias is there, you're straight away looking at a midfielder that is better here, better physicals, loses out or, has similar technicals. I will say Jesper's very good technically, but you're looking at that and you're going, which player's better? And he's only a year older. Yeah, I know where I'm going. Which means tactically you look like that. We go to Bakayoko, 4-star player, is a leading. So you got a leading player in Bakayoko. Dosu's pretty close. Zeno's pretty close. Isaias is pretty close. They're all good players. If you are sprinkling in leading players with a heap of good players, you're going to have a very good squad. And so with that being said, Isaias, fantastic signing. Jorgensen, could loan him for a year. We'll say that too. And there we are. We've obviously got Yuri. I put him on the bench because we are going to look to sell all these guys on. I am getting this episode done before I go and do some Christmas shopping for Mum, and we will be live a little later to finish this off. In terms of transfers, we do actually have a bid in for Tosin. It's 10 mil. It's good, but yet again, at 21, there's still 2 years of development, and there's some really well-rounded physicals, etc. This year, I'm actually not going to be improving the facilities, so let's see just a year of us not moving the facilities, see if that provides some growth. I just think him not playing week in, week out might allow him to train a touch more and develop, but at the same time, still look to play where possible as well. And then on the ins, we need to talk about 2 players here in Rovolo and Manio. Cano was a last gasp. He's leaving for 6 mil. There's a bid in already on him from PSV. Will he come to me? He wants 60k a week. It would be my whole budget plus some, but I have put a bid in for him. Would I play him at centre-back or defensive midfielder? I do think at centre-back, at least, by playing him there, passing ability, vision, and he allows to play killer pass. I think if I play him as a ball-winning midfielder, you lose that. I think as a defensive, as a ball-playing defender, your backer line, there's going to be times where he drives out and he will play that long, ball-breaking, defence-breaking ball, or he will be the one that will be firing it into a midfielder looking to pick it up, which is great. But let's talk about Kobe Mano and Nicolo Rovolo. We've obviously seen Kobe Mano, talked about him. I've looked at him. He's pretty good. There's a few things against him. Firstly, good player, but Nicolo Rovolo can defend a little bit more and is not bad. Secondly, Man United used him 3 times, never played well. Then he loaned out to Luton, didn't play well. Right? So he's been a championship player and he has not played well. Comparing to Nicolo Rovolo, right? Very rounded. Box-to-box midfield, he can still then get inside the channels and get forward and be more defensively minded, which obviously we can see goals. On top of that as well, I know that Kobe Manio may end up playing for Ghana, which might help his progression or his reputation. Nicolo Rovolo has never played for Italy, but what he has done is never left Italy and been playing Serie A football his whole life. Genoa there, went to Juve for 15 mil. Juve loaned him back to Genoa. Juve used him. Never ever fantastic. Last year not bad for Lazio, and then he only played 2 games. Actually 2 years ago, and then played 2 games. But he's someone that I look at and go, can defend a bit better, is a bit more going forward, not a bit more going forward, but can go forward, is someone that has played in the Serie A and played consistently in the Serie A, which is a similar level to us, where Manio's coming from the Championship, basically, even though he's a Man United player, right? And Nicolo Rovolo is someone that is a bit more versatile, because he can actually play. If we lose a big injury, we're going into the 4-2-3-1. Segundo Volante, fantastic. Technically speaking, we can play him in the hole. I wouldn't, but that's what you get. And when you compare the pair, you can see it there. Kobe Manio is slightly better going forward, but slightly better speed. But defensively and mentally, Nicolo Rovolo is a much better footballer. Technically, they're very, very similar as well. And when you're looking at the speed either, it's 15 plays 13. Yeah, there's a difference, but they got the same agility and the same actual pace. They got the same stamina. Nicolo Rovolo better fitness. I just think Nicolo Rovolo, plus he can take a corner, has a lot more ticks than it does Kobe Manio. So I'm leaning that way. In terms of the bids for both, I think I can show you. Kobe Manio's bid was 2.7 mil up front, which is great for the current transfer budget, but we're going to give away 6 mil over 3 years, so 2 mil coming out of every other budget, plus 3 mil after 50 games, which he probably plays, and 2 mil there, which makes it 13 mil, which is possible, especially if he declares for Ghana. Where with Rovolo, similar wage, 4K more wage for a guy that's playing Serie A football, 5.75 mil plus a mil over 50 games. So it's just 6.75 mil. You're getting a guy that's going to come in and has been at the level. I'm leaning towards Nicolas Rovolo. Let me know what you would do. That ends this part. We'll come back with any more future signings. We still need a centre-back. I don't expect to get Marco Canna. To be fair, it would cost me probably too much money in the wage budget to get Marco Canna as well. So, we'll see. Welcome back, YouTube. We have got firstly, we'll get the obvious out the way. Manio rejected. Roviella wanted to come in, accepted. I have actually moved to centre mid on support. Looking between the two roles, centre mid on support, I'm actually can tell Roviella if I go to the player roles to do what I want, which is get further moving the channels, but shoot less often to hide his shooting ability. Which I think is better than the box to box because it forces him to shoot more. So just switching the roles to see what I'll best get out of. But look, straight away, you're looking at the left winger, the right winger, the ball in the midfield, the centre mid on support. Yes, once Melbourne learns the role, the centre mid, the advanced playmaker at attack, and one of the centre backs are all good players of this level. Schindler in goals, I still think he's a very good keeper, to be quite honest, at this level too. Proven by that. Apparently he can play support. I might move into support as well instead of on attack. But yeah, look, we're in a very, very, very good spot. So that's good to see. But the main reason I'm here is I've got a bid out of the blue, which I did not expect. Now, Papa Dieng has, for the last 2 years, been our hot prospect. Now it's Andreas Alonso because there's a bid on there. That's fair enough. I actually want to loan Andreas out. It's got to a stage where if he doesn't play, he's never going to be good. I would love him to stay at the club and be eligible, which is, would be fantastic, but I don't think I think I should loan him, which means we do lose another homegrown player, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. We've got Papa Dieng has got you guys can't see it behind my face, but it's 9.25 mil. It's 3.1 with 4 mil guarantees. There's at least 7 plus 1 mil, plus if he plays one game for Senegal, which he will, we're going to get that. I don't think we should take 9 mil. The fact they've already offered 9 mil and he's worth 6.4 to 9 means that the game must rate him. And when West Ham rules, but especially Porto, are sniffing for young talent, that generally means if Porto sniffing, they're a good player. So let me know if you would sell or not. I'm not going to sit here and just go, let's tweak with the offer or anything. But I think, look, it's one that I don't need to sell. And we train him to play inside forward on the left, and he's very good as an inside forward on the left. He can also play in the hole superbly well as well. He's one that, if he had more speed, we wouldn't even bother selling because he's very good. But at the same stage, selling him here for, maybe 8 mil up front plus clauses could buy me a centre-back. So, what would you sell him for? I'm thinking 15, 20... And if we got a bit of 15, 20 more with 8 up front, plus, I'd probably have to take it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to negotiate, either accept or reject the bid, knowing that if I accept the bid, I expect to see Porto, then Leeds and all that, maybe get into a bidding war for Dieng, which is great because we could drive up his price quite a fair bit. So let's go see what happens. Welcome back, YouTube. Marco Canna has shot me and actually chose to come to me over Twente, PSV. He had interest from Lyon and Inter, and no one actually put a bid in for him. He's actually going to come. I didn't expect this to actually go through. For 6 mil, it's too cheap for me to say no, by the way. He is a good to leading player. He's a defensive midfielder for sure. I would rather play him not as a defensive... I'd rather play him as a defensive midfielder or in the hole here. He would be a complete, a pretty good, centre mid on attack or support getting forward or, because he loves to do everything, moves the ball to his right, tries killer balls, to pass rather than score. There's a lot of good things about him. But he's going to come and play defensive centre-back as a ball-playing defender. Great vision, great passing, can mark, can tackle, great mentals, great player. Good scout report as well, like a very good scout report. He's got great potential, full understanding of the language. He's fairly consistent as well, which is great. And yeah, I'm very, very, very happy with that as well. And look, he's got 5 caps of Belgium. I'm going to have to say yes to this. 6 mil out of the 9 comes out. Next thing we are going to talk about is the Papa Dieng drama. I've looked at him and I go, he's going to be a very good backup player. Very good. But with a year left on his contract, which I did not realise we're going to have to cash in here. Especially with me signing Marco Canna, we now need to make some sales to get some wage budget back because, not saying that he's got much wage, but we can put that into the wage budget. Dieng, in the end, Leicester and me negotiated, and that's what we negotiated. Well, not what I negotiated. They locked in. I was looking for at least 5 to 8 mil up front, plus clauses. They locked in 3.7 plus 4.8, which, is enough money there. 4.8, it's 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about 9 mil there, give or take. plus 1.1 mil if he plays for Senegal, which he will. So, you know, there's at least a guaranteed 10 mil there, plus the 1.3 mil after he plays 20 games, which is not bad. Leeds came in and actually offered a 1.5 mil more total, but something that's a little bit less. 4.5, 6.5. You're looking at 7 mil. 350k per league appearance. So if he plays 10 games for Leeds, we get a guaranteed 3.5 mil. So 7 already gets you up to 10.8. And then obviously the 1.8 there, obviously after playing one game for Senegal, which he will. So look, might not play 10 games for Leeds, but it's a guaranteed 2, 6, 7. It's a guaranteed 9 mil from Leeds. So he accepted that too. He's now got interest all of a sudden from Spurs. It's now pointing to the fact that this guy's really good, and I kind of want to keep hold of him. But with me, you know, I've now transfer listed him up for 20. If someone gives me a bid more than 15, we will sell, because it's now at a stage where once we've accepted Marco Canna, which we just have, we're now going to be over wage budget, and we're going to only have a few mil left to spend, which is fine. But Marco Canna will go in. It'd be interesting to see what my Dream 11 is going to be about where they would put people as well. But yeah, I made another bid for this guy here, this wonder kid, 7.75 mil. I've seen him develop. I want him. He keeps saying we're not at his own ambition. I want us to be locked in the Champions League, because you should be coming from Boca to a Champions League club in League One. You should be moving. So I want him, because if I sell him, I'm going to get Ogbron in, or Facundo, and I'm going to play him at left wing. I'm actually going to move Dosu up front. That is the plan. Marco Canna's here. Welcome him in. He's fantastic. We love him. I think he's fantastic. I think he's very, very good. Close to doing what he needs to do. I think he is going to play centre-back, and he arguably is our best centre-back. And there we are, which is fantastic. I'm very happy with that. So let's go put Marco Canna straight away in there as a ball-playing defender. And all of a sudden, you've got two centre-backs that are really good at the level. You've got Isaias, Nicola Rovolo, Bakayoko, Dosu, really good at the level. Colley's okay. If you were to look at Dosu up front, he plays there very well. We've played Dosu up front in the system. He's a very good advanced forward. Put him on the last man, let him run at people. He's fantastic, right? So he will run the line. He's got very good technique. Hinsway's a very good inside forward too. And all of a sudden you're looking at, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Melbourne line when he learns the position, 5, 6. You're looking at 7 of my best starting 11 being good enough to be good to leading players of this level, which is a team that's slowly becoming not title winning, but maybe title challenging if we get it right. Now, it's about how much do we get for Papa Dieng. Let's go find out. Welcome back to YouTube. Another part. It's more Dieng's been signed by Leeds. So the Leeds bid's what we're going to get. But Federic doesn't want to renew his contract. It was one of the better prospects that came through the club. And was actually going to give him maybe a bit of a go at this level this year off the bench when we can. But he wants to leave, and I don't particularly want him to leave. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Look, if they gave me like 500k, I probably would have to take it, considering the wage budget in the minute. But yeah, they didn't want it. But yeah, Dieng is going to go. We get 2.3 mil at the completion of the deal. We get 7.25 mil, 350k per league appearance if he plays for Leeds. 1.8 mil if he plays one game for Senegal. 20% of profit of next sale. It's not too bad. We're going to send him on his way. I didn't want to really sell Papa Dieng because he was going to get more minutes this year as well. I was also toying with the idea of playing him and then moving Dosu up front. That's not the case. With a couple more sales, we could maybe do some more business here. Dieng's now worth 7 to 11.5 mil, so that's not too bad as well. I didn't want to sell him. In terms of our club info, they reckon Diop's now our best prospect. I actually rate that because I think he, at 18, is really good, just needs a bit of pace. But he's a very good technical footballer. And that leaves us in a position where at left wing we're struggling, but everywhere else we're okay. We're about to sell Indoor. He wants to leave. He's been complaining about leaving. 5.25 mil. He's got a lot of interest. I'm actually going to try and maybe get him out here. And this is something I will recommend for people with transfers. If you've accepted a bid and there's interest, keep on transfer listing at a higher price. That's what we did in the end with Dieng. We had bids of around 11 from Villa and whatever, but they never wanted to negotiate past what Leeds or first Bournemouth or whatever were offering anyway. There we are. In terms of that though, Indoor's got this bid here, 4.8 mil. It's really good for us. 4 mil there for McKaylee. Now you might be thinking, Damien, you only bought McKaylee last year. Why are you selling? He's 29k wage. He's a good League 2 player with only limited potential. He hasn't looked good And if we move 4-3 longer term, we need more of a pacier striker than this as well. Do have a player in mind that I'm thinking about bringing in who's, been in France for a while but wouldn't be homegrown. But we'll see what we do here. But yeah, Mikhail Gigakev looks good enough for me to, doesn't look good enough for me to sell for 4 mil. Bought him for 6.25. It's a little bit of a loss. First player we really lost money on. But that should free up some wage, as you can see here. We got a little bit there. We got some wage there, plus 3.65 mil. Reason why the wage has gone back over again is Mel Belai just offered him a new deal. He wants a new deal. Going to give him a new deal too. There we are. In terms of the season preview, this was obviously something of note and interest that we were looking at as well. How would they line us up in the 4-2-3-1 if we ever moved into it? They would actually say Issa used to play right back. I didn't even know you could play there, but apparently you can. Look, as that fullback that just sits there and just defends and helps out, he's actually not too bad. So maybe something to keep an eye on. They then reckon that we're going to play Wengerford and Zeno with Tosin at left back, which yet again, as an inverted wingback or a wingback that just sits there, he's not the worst either. I don't think we are going to use him. He's still got interest there, but St. Pauli now after rejecting that last bid. And then the rest of the team, they reckon Cannon and Rovalella together, which, to be fair, if I moved into the 4-2-3-1, this is how I would probably play it. I would play it as you see it, because I've got two midfielders that can win a ball and move around and do very, very well in that role. And then have the front four is the same front four. So it's not too bad. Team hasn't really changed. And we'll be back in a second with any other future signings or anything like that as well. I do think if you look at this team, striker. If we could find a striker on limited money, even a loan, I'll be happy, because then I reckon we're in a really, really, really good spot. Here we are, YouTube. Bit of an update. About to approach the day where everything does happen there, which is the 1st of July. In terms of us, we get Salama in, and then obviously we see a lot of people go. We've actually made some sales here, which is fine. Let's talk about those people on the out here quickly. Zeno rejected a bid for. Chavas, 1.2 mil, ended up joining Gijon. Nice. And Dieng, 6.5 mil, is joining Valencia. And we're getting the money there, which actually gives us 11 mil after all the new contracts and everything I've give. 69k of wage, probably down to about 50-something because Zeno wanted to leave to go and play in Qatar. In Qatar, the United Arab Emirates. He wanted only 23k a week. He's currently on 18, so we're going to do that. But leaves us in a spot where it's not too bad. Main reason I wanted to come have a chat is, what do we need? A striker, either to start over Collie or someone to come off the bench, right? And two wingers. Because we're selling Bertrand, which sucks, because I was going to use him at 18 to come through our own academy, actually give one of the academy players a go. That's not happening. And we need a right winger. And I'm thinking there's a couple of options out there. There's one that I'm particularly thinking of, which, might sound a little bit crazy. But that's the plan. So for the next part of this video, we are going to look at signing a backup left winger or a starting left winger, and then move Dosso up front, or a starting striker or a backup striker, and then a right winger if one produces around as well. And then we've got our team sorted for next year. YouTube. I was only with you, not even at the start of the day, but I've made a signing, and I can't believe we made it. This guy was on a free. Kingsley Coman at Real Madrid, on a free. Doesn't have the physicals anymore. He wanted to come in and be a important player. I said no. Apologies, Bum is doing some vacuuming. I said no to his agent. What do you want? I want him to drop it down. Expecting squad player. I was like, okay, if he wants to be a squad player, I'll bring him. He's like, give me impact sub, and if he plays more than 10 matches this season, we'll give you one more year. Mate, he is technically still really good and mentally still really good, plus physically not bad, and has got absolute pedigree. Real Madrid, not even, 6 years ago, paid 98 mil for him. Last year for Real Madrid, he played 10 times, 9 off the bench, at a 7.08 for 2 goals. I think he's going to be fantastic. Comes in for me. We'll play him in some of the weaker games there where we can rest him for Dosu, or, if there's a world where if Colley's not scoring goals, he starts left wing. He starts left wing. When you have a look at him in terms of stats-wise, Kingsley Coman, inside forward, on attack, can do it. I actually think he's better as an inverted winger. Knows what he's doing. I think he's fantastic. Let's welcome in Kingsley Coman on a free to be an impact sub and go as one of the wingers on the bench. We love it. Welcome back, YouTube. We have got our striker signing. It isn't something to go, oh my goodness, about. But I've taken a punt here, and maybe in a position where we got so frustrated last year, to take a punt is interesting. David Boreani's a 21-year-old, and look, there's a lot that I like about him. I will highlight a few things that I don't like about him. Firstly, passing ability and vision, poor. Work rate, poor. Those are pretty big whatevers. If you have a look at his scout report before we bring him in, apparently he has an injury problems. I will just say his injuries, he's had nothing major. There's been a couple week injuries, 2 weeks out, whatever. That's okay. On top of that as well, if you have a look at the scout report, it doesn't say that he doesn't like big games nor consistent, but it does say he's a bit of a perfectionist, and that's one of the reasons I like him. He's a perfectionist. He can play a couple of positions, which is true. He can actually help out on the right. But what I like about him, and I know that the scout report isn't there and whatever, is have a look at his physicals and have a look at his ability to finish. He's got finishing and first touch, and he's got those physicals of acceleration, agility, balance, pace, and stamina. Very similar to what Dosu's are. Dosu's actually slightly more agile and quicker. This is the sort of guy that I think, and this is how I'm thinking about it, Collie will play, and Collie might not be, we know what Collie can do and can't do, and etc. But in this 4-3-3 system, 70th minute, and if Collie's not producing the goods, this guy launches up top, and, in the 4-3-3, we will still look to release people in behind. This guy, 7th minute, against tired defenders, will kill games, I feel. Give him an option in and around the box. I think there's something there. Now, this scout report may be influenced by the fact that, hasn't played well at Spal in the Serie B. He's only ever played in Serie B. It is a pretty big punt. But when I look at him and I go, if he comes in and he finds any sort of form and he develops, there are some options that are really good. Now, I will say 15s are world class. There is the option that this guy just comes in and develops and is consistently a squad player. Like, if he hits 3-star potential and is going to get me 10 to 12 goals a season off the bench, I'm happy. We saw Michele, he wasn't that guy. I think David Boreani has a lot more about him. But I do like finishing, first touch, has some composure, determination, flair, and aggression. I don't mind that. I don't mind if he's a bit of a dirty twat like Diego Costa. Do what you need. Technique's going to get the 15s as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stats already there. You would say 12 will get there. Composure may or may not get there depending on how much game time he gets there. But all of a sudden you're looking at that and you go, there's a potential for him to nearly get the 15 total stats of 15 plus. Just because a last man striker for 1.9 mil being his release fee. In he comes. And there we go. Now you're thinking, okay, Damien, means you're starting with Collie up front again. Yeah. Now that I've done this, live by the sword, die by the sword of Collie. If Collie has another year where he's a bit whatever, then so be it. But we spent that much money elsewhere that I kind of want to get this money that we've now made back through sales and keep it in the squad and keep it in the finance and whatever. But yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, Fraser. Decisions and passing needs work. Looks raw but good. But that's the thing is like, I know we've been building and building and building. There's a lot of good players now at this football club. We have got some star-studded players, right? We've got some star-studded players if you look at the squad, right? Send him on a intensive landing squad, register him in because he's going to come in. David Boreani, boom, straight in, right? I just think that there is a potential for him to be really good. Like, now, I'm not comparing him to Dosu. Thank you very much, THD. Okay, I can't even pronounce that. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers for the follow. It's gonna test me. Look, not gonna compare him to Dosu to say, oh my god, he's better than Dosu. But what I want to compare him is look at the physicals and look at the difference. There's barely any. The balance, but the same acceleration and pace. Natural finish is actually better for Boreani. Same pace. Dosu's got better stamina. If we see Dosu time and time again, now there is other stats for Dosu there, right? We see Dosu time and time again being one of our best players and going in there and doing a job. This guy isn't far off. Yes, he loses out in dribbling, but he's got better first touch and finishing. Technique, yeah, Dosu's crazy, and that's why he's so good. But, if you're looking at flair and determination and, whatever, then Dosu kills him mentally everywhere else. For me, he's raw, but he's good. He's raw, but he's good. But it is what it is. Anyhow, lastly, we've obviously signed Koeman. Malcolm could be another foreign player. We have brought him in. He still looks fantastic. He only wants to be a squad player on 13k a week. So we have put a bid in. Unfortunately for ourselves, we have seen Corinthians come in. So if he wants to return home, he wants to return home. Can't really fight against that. Yet again, as a backup winger, Koeman and Malcolm are two guys that have been there and done it. I don't mind having a bit of experience first year in the Champions League. I think it will help people grow. And then, you're looking at the team and you're going, looking at the team and you're looking, all right, we've got 1, 2, 3 once he learns the role, 4, 5, 6 guys that are of a good to leading level. 6 out of the 11 are good to leading level. Zeno apparently has dropped off, which makes no difference. He's been basically 7, right? Maybe getting compared to Canner, and Canner's slightly a bit better, right? But 7 guys that are of this level that are good to leading footballers in League One. I think there is a world where we could maybe push these top 2. Could. We finished 10 points off them last year. I'm thinking something 6 points away, but it will depend on where everything else sits. In terms of the rest of the episode here, YouTube, that's going to be it. I don't want to have too many parts. Next episode, first thing we'll tell you, did we sign Malcolm, yes or no? We'll find out. And if we didn't sign Malcolm, who's the right winger? Got to watch next episode to find out. We'll also have the opening day. I will let you know straight away off the bat. On the opening day, we got Lorient and PSG, so we're probably going to do a double header there. But till then, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching it again. Give it a like, subscribe. Have a great day or a good night, depending where you're watching from. Catches and bye.